They say trust is the foundation of every marriage. But what if the person you love is hiding a secret so shocking it shatters everything you thought you knew? I never expected to uncover a truth that would leave me questioning my entire relationship. Until a night I came home early. My name is Jason, and I want to share a truly unbelievable experience that completely turned my life upside down not too long ago. I'm 35 years old and have been married to my wife, Alyssa, for 15 years. She's 37, and we have a son together. Alyssa used to work as a cashier at a gas station, which was especially difficult during the summer when the highway was packed with travelers. She would often come home completely drained, so exhausted that the thought of intimacy was out of the question for her. She'd say she just wanted to get some rest. Alyssa is a breathtaking woman. Truly, she's at the peak of her beauty, with a stunning figure for her age. She has a slim waist, and, well, let's just say she's very well proportioned. Maybe that's why, even after all these years, I'm still incredibly drawn to her. I'll admit, at times, I get a little jealous, even though we've been together for so long. For the most part, we lived a peaceful and easygoing life until her boss at the gas station switched her to a rotating schedule. That's when everything started to seem strange. First, she decided to change her hairstyle and even dyed her hair. I didn't mind. I actually thought the new blonde color looked great on her. Then, a couple of months later, she suddenly became obsessed with fitness and swimming, spending most of her free time at the gym or pool. It did wonders for her physique, so I tried to be supportive, but something about it just didn't sit right with me. One day, while tidying up around the house, I found a bright red, lacy set of lingerie with some very revealing cutouts. That's when I started to feel uneasy. She had never worn anything like that for me before. That evening, I confronted her directly, asking, "Hey, what's with this lingerie? Who's it for?" She lowered her gaze and quietly mumbled that she had bought it as a surprise for me. I wasn't sure whether to believe her, but that same night, I insisted she wear it right away. To my surprise, she didn't hesitate or make excuses like she usually did. In fact, she seemed almost eager for me to demand it. We ended up spending most of the night together, taking advantage of the fact that our son was away visiting his grandparents. But strangely, it didn't feel entirely good to me. Some guys might think I was being ridiculous. My wife was suddenly all about pleasing me, jumping at every opportunity for intimacy, looking incredible in new outfits, constantly buying more lingerie, expensive lotions, and doing her makeup more often. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone else was behind this drastic change. Whenever I asked her what was up with her new style, or why she was suddenly so enthusiastic about our relationship, she would insist it was all for me, that she wanted to reignite the spark in our marriage. But something felt off. I started secretly checking her phone messages, scrolling through her social media, emails. Everything was spotless. I even requested a log of her calls and texts, but still, nothing suspicious turned up. That's when I turned to a co-worker of mine who is skilled with computers. I didn't outright say, "Hey, I think my wife is cheating. Help me spy on her." Instead, I just asked if he had any software that could help me monitor certain digital activities. He loaded some stealthy software onto a flash drive, explained how to bypass antivirus programs, and gave me tips on installing it. The entire day at work, I was on edge, running different scenarios in my mind. Of course, that's exactly when my boss decided to pile extra tasks on me, so I ended up getting home late. I didn't get the chance to set anything up that night either, because Alyssa and I ended up in bed again for another passionate night. The next morning, my suspicions only grew stronger when she left for work wearing a top with a plunging neckline. She had never worn anything that revealing before, not even when we were dating. I couldn't help but ask why she was dressed like that. She gave me a strange answer, saying that it made her feel more confident. My nerves were on edge, and I firmly told her to change into something else. But instead of getting upset, she seemed turned on by my reaction, so much so that she pulled me back into the bedroom for another round. It was bizarre. She had never displayed such audacity before. That evening, I rushed home, determined to install the surveillance software from my flash drive onto her computer. I meticulously followed my co-worker's instructions, but unearthed absolutely nothing. No secret counts, no incriminating messages. That night, I lay in bed, eyes fixed on the ceiling, grappling with the realization that she might be using a secondary phone or another hidden device. The following day, I turned our apartment inside out, scouring every possible hiding place for a burner phone or any hint of deception. Yet, I uncovered nothing. The only peculiar find was a collection of books tucked away in her drawer, guides on exploring new fantasies in intimate relationships. At that point, I was drowning in uncertainty, sinking into a deepening despair. A close friend noticed my unusual demeanor and asked what was weighing on me. Reluctantly, I confided in him, half expecting ridicule. He did chuckle at first, remarking that he'd be ecstatic if his wife suddenly became more passionate. But when he realized I wasn't joking, he apologized and offered a simple yet brilliant suggestion. Why don't you just come home early one day and see what's really going on? It was as if a switch flipped in my mind. Why hadn't I thought of that? The next day, I feigned illness at work, securing an early departure. Heart pounding, I sped home, anxious yet determined. As soon as I stepped through the door, I was met with the unmistakable sound of sultry music emanating from our bedroom. My breath hitched. I was so stunned that I didn't even bother taking off my shoes. Moving cautiously, I edged closer and pushed the door open, and there she was, Alyssa, completely bare, sprawled across our bed, sensually swaying to the rhythm of the music. A webcam was set up, capturing her movements. In one hand, she clutched an intimate toy, one I had never seen before, nor had I stumbled upon it during my frantic searches. I refused to watch another second. My hands came together in a loud, sarcastic clap as I called out, "Bravo!" The sudden noise startled her so much that she nearly tumbled off the bed. Frantically, she reached to shut off the camera before breaking down in tears. Between sobs, she confessed that she had been streaming explicit live performances for the past 3 months. Some viewers had even sent her money, but she insisted it wasn't about the financial gain. "It makes me feel liberated," she admitted through choked breaths. "It boosts my confidence, lets me express myself." The thought sickened me. "So, everything those men fantasize about doing with you, you just bring into our real life?" I spat. She shook her head vigorously, gripping my arms as I tried to step away. She swore up and down that she loved only me, that she had never physically betrayed me. I yanked myself free. "Why do you need random strangers to watch you feel desirable?" I demanded. "Why not dance with me instead?" Her tear-streaked face twisted in anguish. "Because it's different," she whispered. "The adrenaline rush, the thrill. It's not the same when it's just for you." Her answer froze me. My chest felt hollow, my mind a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. I needed air. I had to think. Ignoring her desperate pleas, I stepped onto the balcony, lit a cigarette, and tried to make sense of it all. On one hand, she hadn't physically been with anyone else. It was all virtual, nothing tangible. Yet, it felt like a devastating betrayal. It crushed me, humiliated me, made me feel utterly insignificant. Eventually, she swore to abandon it all, to sever ties with her online audience, if it meant salvaging our marriage and avoiding divorce. We spent a few weeks apart, a painful yet necessary distance. And despite everything, I found myself missing her. So I went back. Now, instead of her seeking thrills elsewhere, we explore new experiences together, watching adult films, trying different things, rediscovering each other. Still, I can't shake the memory of that day, that gut-wrenching moment when I walked in on her, performing for faceless strangers. Sometimes, the thought twists my stomach into knots. But perhaps this is just the twisted road we had to take to mend what was broken. I'm still uncertain whether this counts as a happy ending, but at least we're facing it together.